the decoupler bug, but we will address those when we get to them. Where did I put that one? Near the top? Alright, so now we've got all that stuff shredded together. I think these are going to work, aren't they? We'll see. Got decouplers on what? Yes, I have decouplers on everything. I have the big hydraulic manifolds on the side things. I've got the hydraulic manifolds on these tanks. And I've got the standoff radial decouplers on the drop tanks. I think we can also, if it lets us. I don't know if it will let us. Yeah, I don't think we're going to need to worry about that. We've already got 3 points of contact up there. So let's see. That's a big old rocket. I think that we're going to need this at the very least. This is only 2 points of contact, which means that it's weebly wobbly, so I don't like that. We need 3 points of contact. Like this. And like this. Is that... yeah, close enough. Nope, don't strut to that. Strut to that. There we go, good enough. 3 points of contact on everything. And let's see if this rocket will launch. Let's see if this rocket will launch. I think is the word that I was looking for. Separatrons. Because I guarantee you that if we do it right now, we will have no success. There's a Sepratron. Whoa, what is this? That's not right. Drop tanks first. Oh, interesting. Huh. I think the fuel is going to feed weirdly. Because the drop tanks need to feed into here. Yes, that is how NASA does it. They just put a fuel line sticking out in the open like that. But in Kerbal Space Program, that's going to be the way we need to do it, because we can't program the fuel lines to open and close at certain times. Jeez. Alright. So where are those Separatrons at? I knew what was going to happen. This engine would feed from the furthest away tank at first. And the furthest away tank from this engine would have been this tank. It would not have drained the drop tank first. It would have said, what's the furthest away? I go here, I go here, I go here, I go here, I go here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps away, whereas the drop tank was only 1, 2, 3 steps away. So that wouldn't have been the fueling that we wanted. We wanted it to come from this drop tank first. This way, everything will eat from the drop tank, and then we'll ditch the drop tanks, and then it'll begin eating from these side stages. That's just fuel flow. Interesting things about fuel flow. I know that we're going to have problems with the freaking decoupler bug, and I'm already not looking forward to it. Let me fix this Sepratron here. And that's in the right place. Alright. We are definitely going to have issues with this. But let's see if we can do it. We need Sepratrons up here that go off in this stage. And Sepratrons, whoa. Sepratrons down here that go off in the same stage, excellent. And then Sepratrons over here that go off in the same place. And lastly, Sepratrons down here that go off in the same place. Alright, so I think we're good to go. Let's see. 4x. Cool. Excellent. It would have drained from all four. You think it would have drained from there and there at the same time because it branched off? It wouldn't have just drained from here, right? So that's why we needed to fix it, because we want it to just drain from right there is the only place. I think since we love struts, we're going to go ahead and... we didn't use these for anything. We're about to use these for something. Just extra struts. And let's lower this rocket down since we made that really wacky kicker stage. Okay, so step one. Let's see if this goes to orbit. Oh, we need to name it, don't we? We totally need to name it. So this is going to be the space hag. The Duna space hag. Save. Excellent. Anything else? I'm just tossing extra struts in here while I watch. That over there. You might be right. I knew that it wasn't going to do what I wanted it to do. I just wanted it to drain the drop tanks first, and I didn't want to have to deal with rejiggering tanks mid-flight. So that is why I went ahead and changed those fuel things the way I did. I think that looks good. Let's see if it flies. So, to recap, we've built a rocket that will both get us into orbit, 4137 up to this stage, and then it has an additional, I'm not sure why this says 799, but whatever. It has an additional, because that's atmospheric. It has additional delta V, that one was 9 something, and then the main craft has almost 5,000 delta V. And this is for our mission to Duna. We came up with those numbers by looking at the subway map, which has been linked over there a couple times. Spam it. Yes, thank you, crew. Good thing I look at the map a lot, or the chat a lot. So this is our 4500, which we've got here. I'll explain why 4137 is good enough. That'll get us into low Kerbal orbit. Then we've got 950, which will be this stage here. That's our interplanetary kicker stage. Let's go unatmo and show it. So unatmo, 901 versus 950 to get out of there. That's good, because that's going to allow that kicker stage to not become space junk. It'll stay in elliptical orbit around Kerbal. We'll fix that later. We'll pick it up. And then we've got the remaining 5,000 delta V to get us from Kerbal escaped up to Duna, into low Duna orbit, and then support operations around Duna. So we'll also see if we can get over to Ike if we have enough time. But that's what we've done so far. Kerbal Space Academy doing the interplanetary transfers here. K9 Officer, hey, thanks for the link, man. If that is the link that I think it is, I appreciate you posting it over there. It's good to have help. So, let's close that down. Crew, I've been told multiple times. So let us crew it. You know, we'll take the usual. Why don't we just take all three? Bill, Bob, and Jeb. Jeb can fly it. Maybe somebody else can do the lander. One guy can just sit around and get fat eating snacks, which I think is cool. So there we've put everybody in there. Nobody rides in the lander. Alright. Do we need any action groups? I don't think we need any action groups. The other thing that we haven't done here... Yesterday we did a Kerbal Space Academy on deb recovery and real chutes, recovering all this. We didn't put any chutes on these other stages because we're in sandbox mode. If you're in career mode, you may want to think about using deb recovery in the first place, and then putting chutes on these lifter stages so you can recover them and get paid again. We didn't worry about it in this episode. We're just trying to get to Duna. So I think we've done everything. I think we've designed the ship. I think it's built to get into space. I think it's built to get to Duna. So without further ado, let's go to space. Save the Duna space hag. Launch the Duna space hag. Nice, thanks K9, I appreciate it. And yes, Soul Wager, the freaking fuel flow mechanics are ridiculous. Huh. So the webcam's new for this evening. And apparently I've been using the webcam's mic because this is the microphone for my headset. The plug for my headset. This boom that you've been seeing does nothing. That's why when I went to adjust my headset and I went like this and I'm like, wait a dang minute, my headset's not plugged in. How can they hear me? You've been hearing the echo the whole time? This is what you need to tell me. Let me see. Alright, there's that. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this. This is why people needed to tell me. Now, can you still hear me? Are you going to get an echo from this? Tell me right quick. Bouncing. Hey, what's up, Luis? Danthus, you should have told me sooner. Gosh. Are you getting an echo now? Because of the because I've got two mics running. I think maybe the webcam and my headset mic is running. Let me know. I'm going to give it a second here. You notice no change now that I've plugged in? Anybody else? Is this good? Is this bad? Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me better? Can you hear me worse? Is there an echo? We're waiting for the chat. It's on the Twitch delay, so it'll take a bit. Yeah, it continues. Twitch delay. I'm going to put over here. Is my voice audio good? God, good. Let me know. Before I hit launch on this, let me know. I totally... This is the first time I've done this, like I said, so I totally kind of whiffed on that. Hear me loud and clear. Golf Guy, what's up? Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Delta V total, not a number? Okay. I don't know what that means. I'll put my launch clamps down here. It's fine now. So no echo? Did I fix that echo? Alright. I apologize for that. Like I said, when I do something stupid like that, let me know. This, for now, this little thing needs to be plugged into my headset. That's how you hear me, because this is actually an Xbox headset that would normally plug into your controller. So anyways, going to space. We're not rendezvousing with anything. Throttle all the way up. Panel lock. SAS engage. Zoom out. Button press. Alright, let's see if this thing goes to space. How long was I talking? That would have been hilarious if I wasn't plugged in and I talked for an hour and a half without even no one being able to hear me. Hopefully you had told me before then. Anyway, a standard launch profile, we're going to go up to 5,000 meters. We're going to be hoping that we're doing right around 160 when we get there. We should be good. Was that our drop stage? Yep. So let's ditch the drop stage. Drop tank successfully dropped. Good deal. Continuing on our merry. Now it's pulling fuel out of there. And it's pulling fuel out of there. That's bueno. The big challenge is going to be, do these things separate correctly? There's currently a bug with the latest release. Something's wrong with the configuration of these launch clamps, or sorry, the radial decouplers. And sometimes when you try to radially decouple, it causes massive problems. Ralph, I look like Ralph Schumacher? Let's see. I look like that guy? I'm glad I don't have his girlfriend. Jeez. She looks like a candidate for skin cancer in a couple years. Anyways, going up to 10,000 at 260. I hope she's not watching the stream. I don't think I have to worry about that. Anyways, there's about... Go a little bit fast, that's okay. 260. Let's begin the gravity turn. We're going to go over. It would have been nice. There, those kicked off. There's the weird bug that makes your stuff come apart, but at least it didn't blow up the rest of our rocket. We don't have good thrust to weight. I don't like it. We were slowing down there. We don't want to slow down. We need to continue separating when we pop that stage. So that's no bueno for us. We're going to see if we still go to space. We had a little bit extra built in, so hopefully we'll be okay. Oops, I'm wobbly. Hopefully we'll be okay, but we will see. Notice how the rocket's wobbling right now. I'll tell you what's going on. We've got a whole lot of control authority up here. We've got the reaction wheels from the cupola, we've got the reaction wheels from the SAS, we've got the reaction wheels from the lander can turned on. And then we have only this little thin connection between all of this reaction wheel control authority and all of this mass of the rocket. So every time I give it some control input, it's torquing everything about this really weak connection here. Let's see where we are. We've got better thrust to weight now. That's what's going on. See how that makes it a little bit hard to control. If I strutted this thing in a little bit better, we could get rid of some of that wobble. It's just because we only have one set of control bringing us in this way. That's what's happening. We could also fix at least the semblance of wobble by putting a command control core down here, like one of those HALs we could put right in here. And then we could right click it and say control from there. that would get rid of all that wobble, because it puts your heading from the point of control, which should be the cupola right now. And when that cupola wobbles, look at a weeble wobble. It weebles and it wobbles, but it don't fall down. Notice how this right here in the middle of the rocket doesn't wobble when I do that. So if we were able to control from some part that was right there, we'd be a lot better off. I think we're doing good. I think we're going to space because we had that extra delta V built in. So let me turn and burn here. I want orbital velocity. I don't want to be carrying the lifter stage. I should have turned more instead of talking about the wobble so much. So, let's have a look at it. Maybe we need to go to 85. In fact, let's actually go to 90, and I'll tell you why in a second. A, because that's how much fuel we have. B, because that's right where we ran out of fuel. And C, there we go, that's our kicker stage. Let's go plan our circularization and see if we have enough delta V to do it. I'm going to go ahead and click on the apoEPS. Standard launch profile, we do this all the time. We just want to get into space in a stable orbit, and then we will worry about the interplanetary transfer. So I'm just putting a node right there on the apoEPS. That's 100. I want it to say 90, wait for the flip. 89.4, 89.5, 89.6. Alright, I'm being a little too precise here. 89.9. It's like a used car. It's like a used expensive car. I can't come up with it's a car that would cost 89.9 used. So anyways, let's have a look. We planned our circularization node. It's going to be a 47-second burn with 620 meters per second. Look how we planned this. 641 meters per second on our kicker stage, which is these two guys, and we only need 620 to circularize. So actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to kill those guys off right before so that we don't have any space junk, and use this engine to do the last 20 meters per second of circularization. Let us see here. What do we got? A minute 19, 47 seconds. Remember, we bracket our burns, or we bracket our nodes with our burns. So we take 47 seconds, we half it. That's 20 plus half of 8, so 24, plus a second for engine spool up. So we need to go at 25. When we get to T-minus 25, that's when we're going to start the burn for this. So, nice, golf guy. Hey, I appreciate it. Good deal. This is the first time I've really done this, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. Apparently, I just like to hear myself talk. Nathan the Enigma, don't make me lose the node, but my recommendation for new players is to tune in regularly to Kerbal Space Academy. I do streams every night, same time, same channel, and I'm going to be putting up a schedule, and we do things like building a rocket to get to orbit, rendezvousing with something that's already in orbit. Tonight we're doing interplanetary transfers, a little bit more advanced sort of thing. We do landing on the moon, we do spaceplane design and that sort of stuff, so my self-serving advice for new players is watch me stream. I totally missed the node because I'm talking. Whatever. Not cool. I think, I don't know. I like KSP TV. I think there should be a special side channel of KSP TV that is, wow. Is this the webcam or something? Huh. I'm getting some feedback in my headphones tonight, and the only thing I've changed is the new webcam thingy. Weirdness. Anyways, I flubbed that up. We'll still be able to get pretty much circular. Let's see, negative. When that gets to negative or positive 20, there we go. I'm gonna kill those stages off, and then I'm gonna go the rest of the way. Hey, hey, hey. There we go. Now let's circularize. Now, why did I do that, you may ask? Because A, I'm totally screwing up my... Wow. Yeah, that's the... Something's going on, and I don't know what it is. My headphones are acting very, very weird tonight. Periapsis is only 58. I've been talking too much. I should have been burning while I was talking. Let me at least get this up to above 70, but we've got an ugly orbit here. Over and over again, that little noise goes. And then I'll read what you're putting over there, Soul Wager. I've totally screwed something up. I guess we're going to call it 95. Maybe it's my tablet going? That noise keeps going off. Let's set this to 95 and then we'll fix it. 94, 95. Alright, good deal. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. I think that the cam needs to be I know what the beeps are. I'm getting feedback in my freaking mic or in my headset, and I don't know what's going on. What do I need to do? Give me a I can't hear what's going on, and I don't know why. Let me there. I've got a stable orbit. If y'all will excuse me for 1 second, let me see if I can't figure out what's going on with my freaking headset. I don't know if my headset's even breaking up. No, it's not that. It's not that. It's not the followers. Come on, I'm not that dumb. I've never got that many followers at once before. But no, it's something else. I'm getting like massive static in my headset. So let me go ahead and put this maneuver node in here, and then I'm going to hop off the camera for just 1 second and see if I can fix this. It's very distracting is my major concern. 95. 95. Good enough. Alright, so that node's coming up in 24 minutes. I won't be gone for 24 minutes. I'm going to be gone for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. But let me see if I can't figure out what's going on with these freaking headsets. So, 1 second. There we go. I believe I have found the culprit. This is apparently older technology, and my tablet was downloading some stuff over Wi-Fi, and I get that feedback every time that my tablet downloads stuff. So I don't know exactly what it was, but I think we fixed it now. That's the browser window. That's not what we want. That's where we're going next, but that's not what we want now. We want KSP. There we go. Outstanding. Yeah, I'm good to go now. Do I sound good? Are we having problems with the fact that the webcam is also recording me? Or tell me if the sound is good. I think it's, yeah. I replaced the battery so much. I don't even know where the cover for that thing is anymore. But it's like a pit stop. You're playing games and you're like, oh no, my batteries are dead. Replace them. I think I can do it in like 3.4 seconds. Anyways, I think I'm good to go, guys. Thanks for the help with getting the stream set up. And let's go ahead and do the circularization burn and then plan our interplanetary transfer. Do Bill, Bob, and Jib going to Duna. Nice. Hey, thanks, guys. Yeah, I appreciate the help. I'll do that tomorrow. See your headset batteries. Yeah, we already talked about that. My new followers. Everybody that followed, they were coming in so fast and furious while I was doing the launch. Me talking about Kerbal Space Academy made me screw up the launch, but we still got into orbit. And I couldn't catch everybody that just followed, but everybody that followed whenever we were doing that launch there, I really appreciate it. And we're going to be doing this nightly. Like I said, this stream is Kerbal Space Academy. If you have questions, type them in the stream. We answer questions. I don't bite. Either somebody in the stream will help you answer the question, or I'll answer it myself on the mic and cam. That's the entire point of the exercise here, is so that people can learn Kerbal Space Program. And tonight we're doing Kerbal Space Academy interplanetary transfers. So we'll be going out to Duna with the ship that we've built here, and landing on Duna with the lander we've built. So, Elite Gamer, getting to the moon. As I said earlier, we do Kerbal Space Academy on getting to the moon. So definitely join us for the Getting to the Moon episode, which I'll be posting down in the channel description. Later, not right now. But the plan is to have different Space Academy class sort of things nightly. Control from there. Got a little weeble wobble. That usually means to me that there's some parts clipping somewhere. And I'm not sure which parts are clipping. I felt like we didn't clip anything really. These are the only things over here that are really clipping. But that weeble wobble, I mean, that happening with a nav wall bumping is usually the result of part clipping. in my superstitious estimation. So let's get this circularization burn and get to planning that interplanetary maneuver. Fake batteries. I've got like a set of 3 things and a recharger on the wall that's like within easy reach, so I go whack, whack, and replay back actually this side. But the thing is, it's amazing that this headset has worked as long as it was. Like I said, I used to do this when I played on the Xbox, and I just got an adapter from Radio Shack to plug it into the PC, but I've whacked the headphones, I've whacked the batteries out of this headphone so many times. Maybe you'll see me do it. If my headphone batteries die, you'll see me go and whack them out. There's not one of those little fabric things you can kind of pull out and gently bring the batteries out. It's amazing that this headset still works. Thank you, Turtle Beach. I had to see if it was Logitech or Turtle Beach. Not like they sponsor me or anything, so I don't know why I need to worry about saying their name correctly on the mic. Let's see here. Node coming up, 1 second burn. That's really no big deal, so we'll just burn at T-1 second. Let me line up. And we have a very, very short burn to circularize here. 1 second. Half throttle. Not even half throttle. That's pretty circular. Survey says 95222 and 95026. Not a bad eccentricity. Look at that. 3 zeros. Almost 4 zeros on the eccentricity. Inclination is way out of whack. We're going to have to fix that. So what I'm doing right now is I'm getting a nice, stable, circular orbit around Kerbin. We're going to fix that inclination. I could get to Duna from any orbit. I mean, we could be going in an elliptical orbit. We could be going in a wacky orbit. You can still burn to Duna. It makes it a lot easier if you start from a stable orbit. So we're going to go ahead and stabilize this orbit. You can actually see I screwed up that launch because I was talking on the cam and getting the feedback and all that sort of stuff. Yar. And so I screwed up the launch and I got some inclination there. So let me go ahead and fix the inclination. If you don't know how to fix orbital inclination, which is the tilt of the orbit, see how that orbit is tilted compared to the moon orbit, around Kerbin, you know that the moon has 0 inclination. So what we can do is actually set the moon as the target, and that's going to give us a descending node, which is coming up pretty quickly. And you can see right here, see how that descending node says negative 2.4? This agrees. Flight engineer, Kerbal engineer agrees and says that 2.4 degrees is our inclination. We don't want that because then when we eject from Kerbal sphere influence, we won't be coming out straight. We'll be coming out at an angle and over in a planetary distance. That makes a big deal. Could we still do it? Yes. Do we want to do it? No. So let's fix it. On the descending node, we need to burn north, up, normal. So we just pull that up until we see those points flip. Am I an idiot? Did I just say it wrong? No. Alright, that's point 2. Watch for this node to flip around to the other side. I'm just going to keep giving it delta V until... Come on, yeah. Jeez, we're wasting a lot of delta V on this. There we go, 0.0. See how they started to move? So I'm going to waste 93 delta V, but we're going to go ahead and do it. Check the moon, Hag. Set the moon as your target, and if you get a descending or ascending node like that is more than, call it, 0.1 or 0.2 degrees, you can fix it like I just fixed it. Put a node, a maneuver node on the descending node or ascending node, and then you burn north or south based on whether you're ascending or descending. On the ascending, you're going to point south and burn south, down really, and on the descending node, you're going to burn up. And I am going to press the correct button here so that I can actually execute this burn. Have I just totally mucked it up? No. So it's saying a 10-second burn. We half that. That's 5 seconds. 1 second for engine spool up is T-minus 6 seconds is when we're going to start this burn. And I'm going to like say exactly what I need to do, and then I'm not going to do it because I'm not paying attention. That's okay. We're doing this live. So stop. There's our burn. Let's go check it. Flight engineer says now we have 0.04 inclination, which should read on the descending and ascending node as 0.0. That's what we want when we're doing our ejection. So let's see here. Excellent. Now we've got a nice stable orbit. That eccentricity on Kerbal engineer here is 0.00. The inclination is 0.04. Both of those things are good enough for government work. Government's who funds the Kerbal space program, I believe. So we're not going to worry about it. Let's go ahead and unset the moon as our target. So we have a nice clean. Look at that, it's so lonely. Our first mission to space in this save, and we're going to Duna. Now, the fun part. The part that a lot of people came for. We're going to plan our interplanetary transfer out to Duna. And in order to do that, I'm going to use Alex Moon's interplanetary transfer calculator. I've got it set up here, so I can bring it up on the screen. Look at that! How cool is that? It's almost like I've done this before, and I swear to you I haven't. I guess you just spend enough time in the technology industry, and some things kind of make sense. But I've brought up Alex Moon's launch window planner. This is kind of the interplanetary transfer calculator. Use RCS to fine-tune it. Seriously, sir. We don't need to do that. Here's my launch window planner. Here's a link to it. There you go. If you want to follow along and play with the launch window planner yourself, there's a link over in the chat. But this thing is freaking awesome. Basically, let's hop back and look at the map right quick before I get into this launch planner. Again, I'm doing this live. So, back to KSP. So what happens, right? Engineer, thank you. We're trying to get from here, which is Kerbin, to Duna, which is the red line. And there's Duna up there, right? And we all know the basics of the Homan transfers, where we want to leave Kerbin and make it to Duna. And the problem is, we don't just leave Kerbin right now and go to where Duna is, because Duna is going to keep moving while we're flying that distance. What we need to do is figure out when we should, or actually, we want to leave Kerbin and end up where Duna is going to be. So if the amount of time that it takes us to fly this distance all the way around and end up right here is the same as the amount of time it takes Duna to go that distance, that's how we need to go. Now the trick is, there are better and worse times to actually do that interplanetary transfer. Kerbin, having a smaller, lower orbit relative to the Sun, is going to be faster. Duna is going to be slower. Those are just orbits 101. And at different times, we will have different distances between us. We want to do a perfect Homan transfer, which would put us over here. That's the lowest amount of delta V, opposite of where we are right now. And what we want to do is time it so that in the lowest amount of delta V Homan transfer, we can actually hit Duna, have Duna be right there where we're going to be when we launch. That means that we've got to calculate the appropriate time. Oh, nice. Good deal. Thanks for that, Lewis, over there. That means we've got to calculate the appropriate time on Kerbin to do that launch so that when we do the Homan transfer that ends us up over here, 90 or 180 degrees from where we are, Duna just so happens to be there. That's why I've started this save at year 1, day 1, just out of the gate. This is just the time we've been doing these orbital maneuvers. Because over time, you'll get all these different launch windows. That's the concept of the launch window, right? When I can use the lowest amount of delta V to rendezvous with the planet, because the alignment where I am in my orbit here and where Duna is in its orbit here are the perfect time for me to launch with a minimum amount of delta V and hit Duna. That's where Alex Moon's calculator comes in. So let's, without further ado, any questions on that? Did I make that clear? How we're going to transfer out there? We really just want to calculate what day, and what day means how these two planets are aligned in their orbit, what day we want to leave, and how much delta V we should use to get to Duna. So let's hop over that. Using this visual aid, let's hop back over to the, where's it at? Browser window. Excellent. The calculator. I'm sitting up too, I need to be more slouchy, I guess. Let's see here. There we go. Is that good? Yeah, okay, that's good. So, back to the launch window planner. This is the launch window planner that allows us to calculate when we should leave point A in order to reach point B. And so what we're doing is we're at Kerbin and we're going to Duna. That just happens to be the default for the launch window planner. If somebody could handle that delta V thing over there. Time warp before launching into orbit. Yeah, you're right. That makes sense. We'll go ahead and go back to the what did you just say? The tracking station. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and go back to the tracking station when we need to time warp, because that'll allow us to time warp faster. Anyways, on the launch window planner, our origin is Kerbin. That's already set. Our destination is Duna. That's already also already set because that's the defaults here. Our initial orbit we had put ourselves in a 95-kilometer orbit around Kerbin. Our final orbit around Duna, let's just go ahead and say that we want to come into a, I don't know, 50? Good orbit around Duna? Let's leave it at 100. Maybe that won't put us in Ike. I can't remember off the top of my head. I could go ahead and not worry about the aero capture. We can aero capture at Duna. We've got the Delta V in this ship, not to worry about aero capture. Aero capture is a little bit more advanced concept that we can do in the future. And when we get out there, we will talk about the difference between aero capture and not aero capture. But earliest departure, because I've started this save from scratch, it's year 1, day 1. If you've got a career mode or you've got another save you've been playing for a while, you can look in Kerbal Space Program, see what the current day is, and you can set it here. That means that the calculator, the launch window planner, won't give you launch windows that are in the past that you've already missed. From that, we're just going to do leave ballistic as it is and click on plot it. I know I'm skipping over a lot of the stuff here. That's because we're trying to keep it simple. So, origin, Kerbin. Initial orbit, 95. That's where we put ourselves. Destination, Duna. Final orbit, 100. Good to go. Year 1, day 1. That's where we are in the new save. Transfer type, ballistic. Let's click plot. When I click plot, you can see you get this thing. This is called a pork chop plot, right? The pork chop plot is something that gives us all sorts of different options on transferring to Duna. Now, let's have a look here. You get a lot of different information from it. And as you see, as I hover over different areas, you get kind of a heat map that shows you different Delta V. Remember I said we can leave Kerbin anytime and get to Duna. The question is, how much Delta V is it going to cost us? When we scroll over different places of the map, that tells us, notice the bottom axis is departure date, and the vertical axis is time of flight, how long it's going to take us. So you can basically scroll over this and look at your different options. If we wanted to leave today, we could go all the way over here to the left. Departure date would be basically today, right? And we wanted to get to, let's see here, let's say we wanted to get there in 226 days, just because that's one of the increments on the scale here. If we wanted to leave basically today and get there in 226 days, we could do it. We could, but it would cost us 5,803 Delta V. That's because we're not in an optimum launch window right now, right? It'll give you all of the information that you need over here on the side as to what you need to do with that launch window, but it's going to cost you a lot of Delta V. 3,000 for your ejection, 2,000 for your insertion. That's a lot. What we want to do is scroll. I mean, it gets worse. Yeah, if you want to go to Duna here, it's going to cost you 20,000 Delta V. Not really an option. There are some things you can do where you can set the minimum and maximum Delta V and that sort of stuff, but we're going to continue hovering over this. Of course, we're going to want to go for the blue area, and when I hover over the blue area, that gives me the optimal launch window. You see, over here it was kind of greenish, I guess, going into yellow. As we move towards that blue area, notice how the Delta V goes down, 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 until we're in the blue area and it says 1686. But wait, Valdez, remember, didn't the subway map show that it was only going to take us like 1,300 Delta V? And why is this telling us 1688 Delta V? That's because the subway map gives you the best case scenario, and we didn't select the aero capture. So if we had selected the aero capture, I would expect that number to be right around 1,300, which is what the Delta V, or sorry, what the subway map says. I did this just because we've got the Delta V, and instead of trying to go through everything you need to do for an aero capture, in this session, since this is like an intro to planetary transfers, I'm just going to use my engines to circularize us around the planet. But let's go ahead and click over here. We can choose anything in this blue. I'm just going to click here in the middle of the blue. Actually, let's go down some. Like, let's say right around 1700, 1701. There we go. So for 1701 Delta V, that's 1,043 ejection Delta V, and then it's going to take us 658 to circularize, right? Delta V, yeah. Thanks, Soul Wager. I'm not keeping caught up with the chat, but it looks like you've got it handled over there. So thanks a lot for posting the links and stuff. I've chose this, and it's going to give us lots of information over here on the transfer side. It says that the departure is supposed to be year 1, day 239 at 3:21:36. The arrival at Duna is going to be year 2, day 60 at 1:09. So the time of flight is going to be 246 days, right? It tells us the phase angle, the ejection inclination, blah, 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 I won't go over in detail what all of these things are, but I'll hit it really quickly. The phase angle is the difference in angle between where Kerbin is and where Duna is. Remember on our graphic of the solar system, Duna was at one point in its orbit, Kerbin was in a different point of its orbit. The phase angle is the angle difference between those two things. So starting at the sun, here's Duna at the top, here's Kerbin. Is that even like lined up with the webcam? Anyways, that's the phase angle. It's the difference in angle between where your destination is and where your current location is. The ejection angle is the most important thing here. This says 167 degrees to prograde. This ejection angle is the thing that we need to write down. So I'm going to write 167 degrees to prograde. We're going to go back into the game and show you what that means. Ejection inclination, remember we just talked about inclination. We could have actually modified our inclination so that it was 1.1. I'm not going to worry about it here. We can still get to Duna without worrying about this inclination on the ejection. Again, this thing is calculating the best. Like if we were able to execute this perfectly, that would get us to Duna with the lowest amount or whatever amount it says of delta V for what we picked. We're just getting started on this. We're just trying to get to Duna. We're not going to try and put it up on YouTube as the most efficient transfer to Duna ever. So I'm not going to worry about the inclination there. Other things down, you don't really need to worry about the transfer periapsis, the transfer angle, blah, 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 blah. All this stuff I'm not going to worry about. We just know that we need to do 1043 meters per second on the ejection, and we need to do 167 to prograde. So let's hop back over to Kerbal Space Program and show what that means. Oh, I also should have wrote down the departure date, which is day 1, or year 1, day 239. So it's 239, and it is 167 degrees, and it's 1043 meters per second in delta V. I totally just wrote that down on my little scratch pad over here. So, anything I need to get caught up in chat? Any big questions on using the transfer calculator? Remember, this part was totally simple. Where are you? What's your orbit? Where are you going? Where do you want your orbit to be? And then what the minimum day is. That's all you really need to use this calculator. It's a lot more powerful. You can screw with the orbits, you can sling by other bodies, you can do different ballistic, or you can do different transfers with mid-course corrections, that sort of stuff. We're just going simple mode right now. I mean, there's even advanced settings. I'm not even going to click on them. We're just going simple mode. So, starting at Kerbin, 95 kilometers, going to Duna, 100 kilometers, year 1, day 1. This is what we need to do. Day 239, 167 to prograde, 1043 delta V. Remember these numbers? They're not going to be exact. They're just going to get us close. So back to Kerbal Space Program. Wait, I do this, and then I do that, and then I click here. Excellent. Kerbal Space Program. So, we said that that needed to be year 1, day 239. So we do not even need to play with this until we get to day 239. Now, it's not going to be a huge deal, and it's not going to cost you a lot of different delta V if it's day 238 or day 240. A day in either direction, these planets are not going to come way out of alignment with a day's difference. So we're going to go ahead and go to the tracking station and first time warp up to day 239. Could we have time warped to day 239 before we actually launched the rocket? Yes, I think that was a suggestion over there in chat. That's definitely a way to do it. Why don't we want to just time warp with this ship? Because in a 95 kilometer orbit, we're restricted to 5x time warp. Well, we're restricted to the fifth little arrow. I think it's like 50 or 100x time warp. If we go to the tracking station, we can get a lot faster time warp, so we can get to day 239 a lot more easily. So let's go ahead and go to the tracking center. I don't know why there's not just a tracking center button right there. Hey, Hag, no worries. Hopefully you've named your rocket something about Space Valdez, since mine is named Space Hag. You don't have to do exactly what I do. I mean, the entire point of the game is it's freaking Legos, and if you want to use a blue piece instead of a red piece, that's fine. Now, if you get to Duna and you don't have a solar panel, don't blame me. But yeah, nothing. You don't have to copy what I'm doing exactly. So let's go to the tracking station and begin to warp around till we get to the appropriate day, 239. There we go, and we can actually watch what's going on. Let's go. Let's focus on the sun. Remember, Kerbin's going to be going around. Duna's going to be going around a little bit slower. Orbital velocity 7,000. Orbital velocity 9,000. Kerbin's going to be catching up to Duna, basically, like the inside track at the raceway. And what we need to do is launch when there is a 39 degree difference between here and there. The game or the calculator already calculated for us. It said, hey, on day 239, there's going to be a 36 or 39% difference or angle between the two. So let's go ahead and time warp. And I'm just time warping. You can see right up here. There we go. Where's my day? Wow, those days go by fast. There's day 1, day 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're at max time warp. And see those days going up. I'm going to slow it down when we get a little bit closer. Oh, I could use the Kerbal alarm clock. Let's show off Kerbal alarm clock right quick. I'm going to go ahead and say add Kerbal alarm clock. And I want to do a new alarm that is a raw time. Where is it? Yes, raw time. Excellent. Do it on a date. Day 239. It's almost too easy. I'm just going to do day 239, hour 0. Kerbal alarm clock, I freaking love it. The link to Kerbal alarm clock's down in the channel description. I recommend using it because this is what's going to happen. When those days are clicking by so fast, I definitely could have went flying past it. Instead, we're going to say time to go to Duna alarm, and we're going to tell it to kill the warp, add an alarm, and you can see in 182 days, which is 239 minus 182 is 56 or whatever number we're on. Wow, it's hard to read that. Now we can time warp, and Kerbal alarm clock will keep us from blowing past that day. So check it out. It's counting down, and when that counter gets to 0, I'm shaking my leg and the webcam's like... when that counter gets to 0, that means it's going to be time to go to Duna, as you can tell by the alarm name. So... just letting it time warp. No big deal. Wasting time. Look at those planets. See how Kerbin's catching up? Kerbin is catching up. The phase angle between Kerbin and Duna is becoming less and less. It's almost 39. It feels like we're a little bit less than 45 now. Now it's slowing down, and it's killed the time warp, and we are now on day 239. Thank you, Kerbal alarm clock. You're awesome. I appreciate you taking care of time warp for me. Let's go ahead and close that. So now we're at the departure window, right? I'm going to keep it simple. I'm not going to worry about the hours. Remember, it could be day 238, or it could be day 239, or it could be day 230 whatever. But right now, the calculator told us it's a good launch window to go from Kerbin to Duna on about 1,000 delta V. What was it? 1043 delta V. Let's see if we can actually make that happen. Never mind that, oh yeah, I'm at the tracking station. Where's my ship? No, I don't care about you. There we go, the Duna Space Hag, let's fly it. So, why would we maybe want to fast forward before we launch the rocket? Apparently Bill, Bob, and Jeb have just spent 239 days in orbit. We don't pay them to sit around, we pay them to, I guess, go to space. So they've been living here in the cupola eating the snacks out of the hitchhiker for 239 days. As you can tell by their mission elapsed times. Oh, 238 days, apparently. So, let's plan this node. What we needed to know was that we're ejecting 167 degrees relative to prograde. Did it say prograde? Yeah, relative to prograde on Kerbin. What the heck does that mean, right? Where is 167 degrees? I hope I get this right the first time. What that means is that you see Kerbin's orbit here, right? This line that is very difficult to make stay, there we go. This blue line is Kerbin's orbit. What we want to do is eject ourselves relative to Kerbin's orbit at 167 degrees. That's almost 180 degrees. What the heck does that mean? That means that we need to be going out of Kerbin's orbit at an angle that is almost straight ahead, right? 0, I hope I'm right. Duna's outside, isn't it? We need to pick up velocity, yes. 0 is back behind us. 180 degrees is straight ahead of us. Come on, leave that line there for me. There we go. 180 degrees is straight ahead of us. And then 200, what's halfway? 270 degrees would be over here, like straight towards the sun. 90 degrees would be straight away from the sun. So when it tells us that we need to eject at 167 degrees, that means that 180 being straight ahead, we need to go 167, which is just a little bit like this. It's hard for me to illustrate this here. I wish I had a scratch pad or something I could write on. But 167 is going to be almost straight ahead. How do we accomplish that? Whoa. There we go. And I think I may have just totally said that wrong, but we're about to find out. I may have gotten it backwards. Let's go ahead and put the node over here, add the maneuver, and do, what did it say? 10, just about 1,000 delta V. I'm wondering if I totally said it wrong. 1034, I think it was. There we go. That's not quite right. That's going to put us out. Did it get us with Duna? It got us up to Duna's orbit just about, but not at the right time. Let's see if we can tweak it around a little bit. Did I just get it backwards as opposed to the burn location versus the ejection angle, which would be 167 degrees here on the backside of the planet? That may be the case. I may have just totally flubbed this because I'm doing this live. And I did put the burn here on the back of the planet. So let's see here. Oh yeah, it helps if you set Duna as the target. So let's see. It's so freaking difficult. There we go. I know I have precise node over there. I'm trying to do it without a precise node. Yep, there we go. I did in fact say that backwards, and I am quite embarrassed about it. What did I say? 167? Yeah. I almost got it right, but I said it backwards, and that is pretty embarrassing. There we go. Alright. So anyways, I completely just explained that backwards. 167 is back here on the back side of the planet. It's not the angle that you come out up here. That calculator is actually showing the point that you want to start your burn right back here. So let's see here. That's going to get us really close to Duna, because there's our apoaps, and we have Duna set as the target. So let me correct what I just said. We're on the back side of the planet, and what we need to do is burn at 167 degrees on the orbit of the planet. 0 being straight forward, 167 being where we are relative to that orbit on the backside. So this is 0, 90 is straight towards the sun. I totally should have done a dry run of this. 180 is straight backwards along the orbit. 270 is away from the sun, that way. And what that's telling us is it needs to get 167 on the backside of the planet here and burn here. If I burned at 180, that would be directly on the backside of the planet relative to its orbit. 167 is just this side of it. You can see over here that that is 167 from prograde, and I see that because I've got precise node in here. But wait, that didn't get us an encounter. That just got us pretty close. So what we're going to do now is just totally play around with the orbit. I'm not going to try and go in and how do we exactly calculate this. Let's just play with the orbit and see if we can get that encounter. So I'm going to start off by giving it a little bit more delta V. There we go. Look how close we were. So all I did was pull that delta V out just a little bit. 137 and 134, and we have that closest approach. That means that we're really close. And the purpose of this was not to type in the exact transfer, but how can you work with the tools that it gives you in the game to get the transfer. We're really close to that approach right now. We just need to play around. Let's see if... Those asteroids are totally in my way. There we go. Get back to this. Let's see if a little bit more delta V will fix it. If I give it more delta V, look, it's pulling them together. Wow. That's actually hitting Duna, isn't it? Let's go focus on Duna and see what sort of encounter that would give us with Duna. Nope. That's a flyby on Duna. It just doesn't show us the resulting orbit for some interesting reason. Huh. But you can check it out. And just adding 3 delta V, just about 4 delta V over it, puts us with a Duna periapsis of 2,300 meters. Or sorry, 23 million meters. All we had to do was get that angle pretty close. Oh, let me go back here. And then put in 134 and pull it back and forth from 134, and that got us the Duna encounter already. Now, all we did, remember, was go to the correct day. Let me go back to the vessel. We went to the correct day. We ejected at the angle that it told us, and we put about that much delta V in, but that didn't get us an encounter. That was just a starting point. Instead of calculating everything exactly, we're just playing around. So what if I hadn't got this exactly right, right? Go with it and correct later. That's exactly right. That is what we're going to do. But if I hadn't got this right? What if I didn't have precise node to tell me that it was 167 degrees? What if instead I guessed wrong and I put the orbit back here? That's 173 degrees, right? Let's go see how that affects things. There we go. We don't have that encounter anymore just because of exactly where we were in the burn. Let's see if we can fix it. If I hadn't quite got that right, can I give it more delta V? Let's try and give it more delta V and see. There we go. So even though I didn't get exactly 167 degrees, I can give it a little bit more delta V. It looks like we're getting further away, are we? Yeah, we're getting further away, so let's give it a little bit less delta V. Let's just see if we can get an encounter with putting less delta V in. That was close. So what I would do is get it really close like that, and then I'm going to do some radial in, see if that helps us. I'm just playing with it here. I mean, I'm not doing anything besides... Oh! So there we go. That's a 173 ejection angle. It's going to cost us more delta V instead of 137, 163. What's 20 delta V? I mean, you don't have to get these things exact. You just have to get close enough and then play with it. And it does help to know how to play with it. But look at that. We could get that same Duna encounter, not burning at the right thing. Can I move precise node up a bit so you can see? Oh, hey, good call. It's right over my hat. Or it's right over me. Thank you for pointing that out. You haven't even been able to see. I should have put it completely behind the camera so you wouldn't know that I could see it. And then I would have just looked like some sort of wizard. Let's see if I got it moved up over there correctly. Survey says... Come on. Stream delay. Did I move it up enough? Come on, come on. There we go. Alright, that's good. Now you can see all the precise node. Thanks for the feedback there, Sacred Chart. I did not even think because I don't see the camera on my own screen. So, good deal. You can see that that's a 173 departure angle, and we've got 163 with a little bit of radial, and that gives us the encounter. Could I do it from 180? So let's go all the way back here and pull this all the way back to 180 and see how much delta V that cost us. So there's 180 from prograde. See? 0 is the same, I guess. Let's see if we can get an encounter that way. We're already close. Let's see if we can take a little bit of that radial back off. Nope. Let's give it a little bit more prograde. That brings us together. Let's give it a little bit more. That's actually radial in. How is that doing? It's not putting us there. Nope. Let's try a little bit more. Nope, that moves it away. Let's do a little bit less. Wow, I feel like that's really close. There we go. Alright, so just playing with it, that one's going to cost us 1099 delta V. And we were at the straight backside of the planet, 0 degrees or 180 degrees from prograde. Straight on the backside of the planet. So, when we went the... that's a good point. Pterandos, that is the most parallel to your interplanetary orbit. That makes a lot of sense. This isn't the best angle, but what I'm trying to demonstrate is that you can use the calculator to get close enough, but it doesn't matter if you're exactly on it. It's going to cost you a little bit different delta V, but we have, being that we're on the right day, we don't have to plan that node exactly right. We can get close enough, and like I said, it's good enough for government work. I could probably take this thing all the way around to like 150. So let's give it a try. Let's go all the way to 150. There you can see in precise node, that's 152 from prograde. Let's see if we can play with that and get an encounter. Even though the game told us, look at that. That's almost an encounter already. The calculator told us we needed to do... There we go, look at that. There was an encounter. So I went from 150 all the way to 180, and I was still able to get that encounter without using a difference of 60 delta V. So, do you have to plan it exactly? Does it make a lot of sense to be able to post on the forums and say, I'm going to Duna using only 900 meters per second? Sure, that's cool. When you get advanced, you can do that. But when you're just getting started and you want to be able to get to Duna to say you got to Duna in the first place, you don't have to be precise. Use the calculator to get you close enough to the right day is really the important thing. And then, just by playing with the orbits, you can get an encounter even if you don't have tools like precise node and that sort of stuff. So, let me go ahead and set up the correct angle here. which was 167. By the way, I just went over a lot of stuff really quickly. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask me in the chat. I'll answer them. I know I've talked a lot. I also know that I totally flubbed up the angles, which I'm slightly embarrassed about. But the ejection angle that the calculator gives you is where you start your burn, not the angle that you leave the Kerbal system at. So, again, Alex Moon's calculator is giving you the ejection angle where you start the burn, not where you leave. That's on the back side of the planet here. Let me go ahead and put this at negative 167. Actually, 167. There we go, 167. And I'm going to move it forward a little bit. That's 168. That's 166. 166.84. Close enough. We just proved that we could get there all the way from 180 to 150. So let's go ahead and change our delta V again. I'm just going to get rid of that radial delta V. There we go. And we said it was like 1037 or something, I think was our last calculation. 1034 is what the calculator told us. So we'll type that in and we'll fix it from scratch again. 0. Alright. And then let's see, what did we do? We added a little bit of delta V, I think. There we go. And there, in 239 days, we'll be able to have that encounter with Duna. What did the calculator tell us our travel time was? Let's check right quick. So the calculator told us that the time of flight was going to be 246 days. So because we're pretty close, we're actually shaving 7 days off of our travel time, which is nothing to sneeze at. But that's just about right. We didn't make it exactly at the calculator, but what's a couple days here and there when you're going 239 days? So let's go back to KSP. I think there's like buttons. I need like a side keyboard that I can choose that stuff with. And there's our node. Now, what problems do we have with this? The number one problem is that we don't know how long that stupid burn is supposed to be. Given the bug, I'm going to call it a bug, the fact that even though it knows the thrust output of this rocket, this engine, even though it knows the weight of our craft, even though it could use the rocket equation to tell us how long we were going to need to burn to do that much delta V, it doesn't do it. That's lame. I don't know why. In order for KSP to calculate, we've got to fire up the engines, then it figures out the calculations, and then we turn off the engines. That's lame. I'll show you the trick that I use, and it involves quick saving and quick loading. Let's see here. It doesn't really matter what direction we're pointing, but what I'm going to do is just point in a direction, like this, and stop. I just chose prograde. I'm going to quick save. I'm going to press F5 to quick save it. This is stupid Kerbal tricks. I am going to... The motor's already engaged, so I'm going to throttle all the way up and then turn it off. You can see that when I did that, it calculated my burn, right? But the problem was, it also changed my orbit. So because I quick saved, I'm going to go ahead and hold down, remember, minute 50 seconds, minute 50 seconds. I'm going to hold down F9 to do a quick load. Now that I know it's a minute 50 seconds, I can calculate my burn. Half of a minute is 30, half of 50 is 25, 30 plus 25 is 55. So we'll start burning at T minus 56. That's not exactly right, but you'll see why, and you'll see what to do with it. So let's see here. Let's flip around and find the node. It's in 6 minutes. Let's look for the blue thingy. I'm not sure exactly how our ApoApps got skewed a little bit, but it'll be fine. Let's see. Here we go. And while I spin around, I'll check the chat. Overfunction. This is awesome. Nice. Override function, that's exactly what I like to hear. That's freaking awesome. I mean, there's so many options on the calculator and that sort of stuff, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, you can make it more complex. You can have the most precise burn. You can post on the forums. Check me out. Check out my EPing. I got there in like 20 delta V. Can you do that? Whatever. If you just want to get to Duna or get to somewhere else, the calculator's not hard to use. We'll do an advanced session, I think, when we go to places that are more difficult like Moho. But Duna's a good target if you're just getting started. So some important things to note now. I've lined up my node. Kerbal Engineer is telling me in the first stage, the big kicker stage, I only have 739 meters a second. That's a problem, because my entire burn is going to be 1040. That means a couple things. Number one, what is going on with this guy? He's got sun on him. Is the sun like shining straight in the window or something? No, the sun's behind me. Huh. That's weird. I don't know what's going on with that guy. Anyways, we're only going to be able to get 739 meters per second from the kicker stage. There's a couple solutions that I could do. I could take fuel out of my main stage and use it to refuel the kicker stage so that we maintain that high thrust to weight at the expense of delta V on the final ship. That may be a solution. What this means is that we're going to have to kick off this interplanetary kicker stage in the middle of our burn. That has a lot of consequences, because that means in the middle of the burn, we're going to go from 1.2 plus thrust to weight down to the 0.23 thrust to weight that we have in the actual craft. That's going to throw the burn time way off. That's going to mean that our burn is really inaccurate. That sounds terrible, you say, right? Why wouldn't I just want enough fuel so that I could do it all from this? We would be able to fix it on the fly. What we're going to do is we're going to sacrifice a little bit of the fuel from our main stage and put it into our kicker stage and see how that affects things. Okay, so now our main stage lost about 500 delta V because we use those efficient nuclear engines. We have 947, so we're just about 100 meters per second delta V in this stage. That means that we're going to get really close to that full burn using just the kicker stage. Oh, you can't see the sun on their face. Hey, thanks again. Yes. And yes, Soul Wager, you are correct. Don't get too far ahead of me. I'm definitely going to talk about how to fix it. Anyways, I've done this. We've sacrificed our delta V here to get more time with our more delta V with the higher thrust to weight out of our kicker stage. There are lots of ways that we could tune this. I don't know off the top of my head if we're going to escape Kerbal. I think we are going to escape Kerbal with that burn, which means that the kicker stage would become interplanetary space junk. Maybe that's okay for this. Maybe what I want to do is take off 50 meters per second of delta V and put it back in the other stage. We won't agonize over it. Maybe I'll go ahead and quick save right now. Call it pre-burn because we're coming up on the burn pretty quick. It's KSA. Where are we going? Duna. Outbound. Pre-burn. Alright, so good deal on the thing. Let us see. I'm going to go ahead and leave all that there. This may become interstellar space junk. It may get out of Kerbal's sphere of influence. We are going to have to complete the burn with this craft. Couple things. It's going to have higher thrust to weight because we took some of the fuel out of it. 44, 48 delta V. That's still freaking plenty of delta V, especially since we're doing 1,000 with the kicker stage. And remember, it was only 1,500-ish to get to Duna total with the freaking circularization burn. Let's just see how this goes. Less talking, more burning. Node's coming up in 2 minutes 51 seconds. So we said it was going to be 1:50. So let's just go ahead and say 50. What? Wait, 1:50, 30, 25, 55. Yeah, 56 seconds I think is what I said. So we've already done the save. Let's go ahead and time warp down till we get to 56 seconds and then begin the burn. I'm like totally looking droopy-eyed because I'm looking at the bottom of the screen. Then I can look at the top of the screen. It looks like I'm almost looking at the camera. Let's see. Maybe I need to move the camera down a little bit so it looks like I'm kind of looking off the side instead of down like that. I don't know. Feedback welcome. 1:56. We're going to start this burn to Duna. There we go. And let's begin the burn. Yes, face pops the barrel. Hey, Adel, what's going on? Welcome. Jarhead, you came in as well. Also welcome. Override function. Yeah, I really appreciate you liking the stream. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I hope you're learning some stuff. Nothing scary in here. Civilly, and then we're all the way back to stuff we talked about before. Adel talking about force equals mass times velocity. What is this, math class? Seriously? I'm trying to play a video game here, dude. Continuing on with the burn. Liking that high thrust to weight because it makes that burn 1:20. If I had tried to execute that same burn using only nuclear engines, we would have had a 5, 6, 7 minute burn. That would be totally ugly. In fact, we could come back here and we could try to execute the burn just with the nuclear engines, and you would see the difference in using the big, what do we have here, a skipper as our kicker, our interplanetary kicker stage, and using these nukes. Yeah, the nukes are super efficient. Wow, they ridiculously increase your burn time. So let's see how we're doing. We got 34 seconds left. Only 23 left in this motor. I could be piping fuel over and do the entire burn based on that. But I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to finish the burn with my main stage, which is staged correctly, which I like. So, I'm going to let this burn out before we... That was us leaving Kerbal Sphere of Influence. Let's check it out. Wow, we almost did it exactly. But that kicker stage is going to become space junk in a solar orbit. No time to worry about it now. Let's complete our burn. Look how slowly we pull away from that thing. Now our thrust weight's 0.35. Remember our design spec was like 0.25 or 0.27 or something. Because we moved some of that fuel out, we sacrificed delta V for thrust to weight. Let's go ahead and finish this burn and then see what we need to do to fix it. Again, I'm just staying right on the blue node. Wow, maybe I could put the nav ball in the upper right-hand corner so that I'm looking right at the camera. Or maybe I should put the camera... Now you'd be looking at my nose if I did that. Put the camera right underneath the nav ball. Let's see. Almost done. 20 meters per second left. No whammies, 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 no whammies. Stop! Let's see how we are. Wow, that looks good already. Because that's Duna, and that's us with the Duna encounter. I didn't mean to do that. I thought I was going to have to fix it. Jeez. Let's have a look. Wait, why am I on this? Nobody wants to see this. Let's go out here and look. So there we are. Check out the differences, right? This is going to be... Why does it... Oh, that's because it's coming in. That's right. This is our space junk that's going to escape Kerbin and go into a solar orbit. And then this is the angle of ejection for our actual craft that's got that intersect with Duna. I will, after we get to Duna, come back to that quick save, the pre-burn quick save. We'll play around with it. We'll show what had happened if we tried to execute it with nukes. We'll show what would happen if we put a little bit less delta V in this so that it stayed in Kerbin's Sphere of Influence. We could capture it. We could even use it as a tug to push multiple things out. That's my MUT program and my career save we were talking about yesterday. And all sorts of cool stuff. That went better than expected. I thought I was going to have to tweak the orbit. Look at these guys. Jeb's like over there like, yeah. And Bill and Bob are apparently eating all the snacks because they're in the hitchhiker. And we still have 4351 meters per second of delta V left in this thing, not including the mission fuel. We've got these two full fuel tanks over here. And the fuel in the lander that we put in. So that went a lot better than expected. Oh man, I totally forgot. I was supposed to extend these and act like they helped me get a Doppler fix on Duna or something. From behind the planet, apparently. Now that we've got the orbit set up, these will be our approach radars or something. I don't know. Or our ears. Or our flaps or whatever. Let's see if this one can open. Without hitting anything. It may clip through the cupola. Let's see. Ooh, it's almost like I've done that before. Anyways, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and check the chat and see if there's any questions or anything on what we've done so far. Sup, lol. Thank you for your contributions to the channel, Adel. Anybody else have any questions or anything like that? We've just executed the interplanetary transfer burn to Duna. And all that's really left to do now is time warp again. Which, since we're north of 120,000 meters, we can do straight from the ship here. But again, any questions? If I went over anything too fast, if I missed something, if you need me to repeat something, let me know. Put it over in the chat. If we need to hop back to the calculator and talk about something while this ship is going, just let me know. I'm happy to cover this stuff again so that we can make sure that people understand what's going on. It's like that, 243, 245. Let's have a look. Let's actually go look at Duna. Well, Ike's close enough. Where's Duna? Duna. No, not Ike. Duna set his target. I could just press tab a lot, I know. Yes, thank you. What am I doing wrong? Look how we're coming in way south of Duna. We will have to fix that because right now, I guess I can do it from Ike. Right now, remember how we didn't worry about the inclination? We didn't really do anything with the inclination that the calculator told us? That's what's happening here. Instead of coming in on Duna's plane, which Ike merrily follows for us to help us out, we're going to be coming in way south of Duna. Problem, we don't want to go into a polar orbit around Duna. We want to get into a planar, an equatorial orbit, so that we can visit Ike too. So we're going to need to correct this. Oh, Jarhead. I don't know. I've done this quite a bit. Apparently I said the transfer angle's wrong, but that's fine. We still got to Duna. I've just played the game a lot. I love science. I'm not going to say I love math. That would be a lie. But this is just such a freaking cool game. And that's why I'm streaming. I hope I could share it with other people so they can get out to places like Duna and that sort of stuff too. I mean, I love that comment. I totally took a screenshot of the comment up the screen from override function saying the calculator intimidated them, but it's not that hard. I mean, that is exactly why I'm doing this, just because I want to let other people know what's going on and know that you can do it. There's nothing scary about it. I mean, if you shoot for the stars and you miss... Wait, what is it? If you shoot for the moon and you miss, the stars are cold, dead wasteland and you'll probably die? I forget the exact quote. No, if you shoot for the stars and miss in Kerbal Space Program, you build another freaking rocket and you shoot for the stars again. It's not that difficult. But I totally took a screenshot of that override function, and I really appreciate the comment. That's totally cool. What else do I need to do? Is there anything else I need to do? So, we're going to need to correct this. That's next on the agenda. If there's not any other questions over here, the atom I win. Neglected to follow. That's 2 strikes against you. Can I kick you from the freaking channel? What came first, the chicken or the egg? Luis, everybody knows the answer to that. A chicken egg laid by an animal that is not a chicken is what came first. Come on now. Adel getting some sleep. Good deal, Adel. Take it easy. Thanks for hanging out. What else? If there's any other questions, like I said, post them in the chat. I'm going to move right along. The follower noise is super loud in my headphones. But I guess that's not a bad problem to have. Let's fix this approach, because we don't want to go into a polar orbit. For anybody who wonders how I got out to Duna so I could see this, let's see here. Where is... There we are. Kerbal, focus view. One of the things you can do, you can come over here into the map mode, and once you've got your encounter with Duna here set up, you can come over here and left click on Duna. Come on now. It's giving me some... What is this? An asteroid out in Duna orbit almost? That's interesting. A lot of times you can left click on Duna. It is not letting me do it right now. And set Duna as the target. I've noticed that that's a problem. See how you can left click on Moho and do set as target? I guess because my trajectory, I've got that orbit going really close, it's not letting me do that. Another way you can get there is just by pressing tab. So I can press tab and it'll change my focus. I pressed it 3 times and it got me out to Duna. It's probably the easiest way, I guess. And then when I zoom in with Duna as the focus, I can see where that encounter is going to bring me in that way south polar pass. And that is not what we want to do. I want my pass to come in over here, not way down there. So because it's north to south problem, that's an inclination correction we need to do. Inclination is about the ascending and the descending nodes, remember? So what we need to do is not press that button at all, because that's dumb. What we need to do is go back to our ship. I'm actually not keyed on what the easy way to do that is. Yeah, not Gilly. There's Kerbal. Can I set... I don't want to set it as the target. I don't want to switch to. I'm already flying it, aren't I? Whatever. Let's see here. Oh, hey, I am a... Yeah, there you go, Joa. Joa, that is the inspirational quote. I was looking for the smartass quote, which is shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you'll die among the stars because space is a cold, dead, inhospitable place. Something like that, the more realistic quote. Yours is the inspirational one. Tatty Boggle, 68. I'm a beginner, e.g. if it's 1 minute to the node and it's a 1 minute 50-second burn, why do I burn early? The node, whenever you set up a node, it calculates the amount of delta V that you need to impart on your craft, the amount of change in velocity you need to give your craft at that time, at the node, to change your node tells you, right? It actually it determines that node as a point in time, and it says, man, say I had an engine that had infinite thrust, and my craft had very little mass, I could give it 1,043 meters per second of delta V all at once in less than a second. That would be a perfect burn, right? As it turns out, rocket engines do not work that way. What actually happens is it takes you some amount of time to do the change in velocity. So you may be able to do, your acceleration is like 50 meters per second, and you need to do 1,000 meters per second difference in delta V. So 1,000 divided by 50 is 20. That means that your burn would take 20 seconds, right? If a burn takes 20 seconds and you started at the time of the node, that means that a lot of your burn will be after the node. All 20 seconds will be after the node, and you won't be very precise. If I started 20 seconds before the node so that my burn ended at the node, then my burn would be imprecise because I would be burn, 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 and when I got to the actual node, I would be wrong. I wouldn't be able to I wouldn't have imparted the 1,000 meters per second at the exact node. Can you see my finger on my hand? On the other side? So what we do whenever we burn like that, we figure out what the burn is going to be. In my example, 20 seconds. We half that amount so that half the burn is before the node and half the burn is after the node. I personally always add 1 second to the pre side of it so that the engines can spool up. They don't go from off to completely on all at once. This is the wrong craft, by the way. But I add 1 second to it. So in my example, I would start burning at T minus 11 seconds. 1 second for the engines to spool up, 10 seconds of burn before the node, so half my delta V, 500 meters per second, 10 seconds of burn after the node, so that I kind of split the difference. It's as good as I could get putting half my burn before the node and half the burn after the node. So I hope that explains the question you had there on why I split. You'll hear me every time I calculate a node, you'll hear me say, all right, that's a 30-second burn, half a 30 is 15, plus 1 second for engine spool up is, did I just say 13? Half a 30 is 15. Half a second or 1 second for engine spool up is 16, so I'm going to start at T minus 16. I repeat that to myself every single time I calculate the burn, just so that I know when it's time to start burning. So, I hope that answered the question. And let's see here. Any other questions? If that didn't get it, let me know. Backspace. Does backspace... Will that get me back to my craft? I hope that that's not it. It's like I've played thousands of hours in Kerbal Space Program and I don't know that I can just press backspace. I don't know, rest a bit. Open to forum to answer questions? What? That's hilarious. Hey, Teddy Boogie, good deal. All right, I'm glad that explanation helped you out. All right. Evolution joke. So this is the wrong craft. Let's get over to the right craft. That's our space junk. We want to be on this. That's why it told us to switch to. Back to the Duna Space Hag. And let's see here. Here's the Duna Space Hag. And we were planning a node to fix our inclination. So how do we do that? Remember what we did with the moon. We set the moon as the target when we were in orbit around Kerbal, and we looked at the ascending and descending node, and that's what allowed us to figure out what our ascending or how we needed to change our inclination. We're going to pull the same trick with Duna. We're going to... Oh no. Oh no, don't tell me. It won't let me set Duna as the target. Oh, good thing we're getting new spaceplane parts. Ay, ay, ay. Well, I need to set Duna as the target. Does anyone have any handy tricks on how to set something as the target when you can't set anything as the target? Maybe I could do it from this view. Can I spot Duna? No, it's not gonna work. Let's go back to the Space Center, then come back to this craft. Is that seriously what returns you to the craft? You know, I've played KSP for so long and I've never hit the back button because I thought it was the the abort button, and so I've never actually pressed the back button. Click on Duna's orbit. Hey, maybe I'll try that too. If this doesn't work, I'll try clicking on Duna's orbit. Thanks for the help. Set a target in the rendezvous tab of Engineer. Oh, also cool. Thanks, Cybertech. I don't use that feature very often, but that is an awesome workaround for when Kerbal Space Program takes a dump. Alright, I still can't click on Duna. Doesn't look like it's letting me click on its orbit. Wow, okay. Won't let me click on Duna. Will let me click on Joule. No, it won't let me click on Joule either. It is just... Moho. Oh. It helps if you're not in the Space Center. Fly. Ay, 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 Chihuahua. Orale. Whatever. Totally doing this live and I'm not perfect. Now that I'm on the space hag, let's try clicking on the orbit. Alright, there's that. Duna, wherefore art thou? Duna. Click. Nope. Let's try the orbit. Nope. Triple click. Nope. Right click. Nope. Can I focus on Duna then set it as the target? I can't even focus on Duna, but I can press tab. Focus Eve, Gilly, Kerbin, Moon, Minmus, Duna. Okay, now can I zoom in and click on Duna? That's Ike. That's not right. Duna, please. Nope. Clicking on Duna does nothing, much like goggles. Abort, don't abort in map view. Also cool. Yeah, thanks, Soulwager. I caught that I was in the tracking station. Oh my goodness. Got a weebly wobbly orbit too. That's nasty. Alright, so to set the target, Kerbal Engineer to the rescue. I think what we do is click on the rendezvous tab. Kerbal Engineer 0.6 to the rescue. I'm totally going to install 0.1 for you. Let's see here. Engineer. Yeah, Argrave is also telling me Engineer is going to work. So let's click on Celestial Body. Let's click on Duna. Target Duna. Kerbal Engineer is so awesome. I mean, I feel like I should drive to Mexico City and lobby them in person to purchase Kerbal Engineer and include it in the game. It's so freaking awesome. I do not think I would enjoy this game, nor could we do the same sort of stuff without Kerbal Engineer. Thank you very much for making it, Cybertech, who's here in the channel with us, by the way. Let's see here. It always helps to have the god of the mod with you in the channel to tell you things like that. So, now we've got this set up. Let's go and see if we can't work on this node. Not from here. There's a descending node, -1. Let us see if putting a maneuver in 148 days. So what I did, remember, we're trying to fix the inclination. What I do is I set my target, which is Duna in this case, go to the node that I get, which is the descending node here, and then we're going to see how we can fix it. I can actually zoom in. Whoa, too much zoom. I can zoom in on Duna, so we see our flyby going past the South Pole, and I'm going to burn descending node. I'm going to burn normal, and check that out. See how burning normal brings my encounter up? That's freaking awesome. If I were to burn anti-normal, tell me if I'm not saying those right. There you go, shout out. Awesome. If I burn anti-normal, it goes down. If I burn normal, it goes up. That's exactly what we're trying to fix. So let's see here. Normal, normal, normal. Normal, normal, normal. Bing. Still a little low. I'm putting it flat on so that the orbit of Ike is flat. Let's give it a little bit more normal. And then there we go. That's what's known as a mid-course correction. And now we're going to be coming by Duna. Looks like that would be retrograde, a retrograde orbit. So coming around Duna this way means that when we correct, we're going to go into Duna in this direction. Ike orbits prograde, orbits prograde. Can I get a confirmation on that? Ike orbits around Duna. Let me zoom in. Ike orbits around Duna in this direction, and so if I want to encounter Ike as well as Duna, I don't want to be orbiting like this. See what I mean? I mean, normally we'd be coming by. Right here we're going to put a node, we're going to burn retrograde so we slow down, and we're going to make a circular orbit around Duna. That's almost right on Ike's orbit. Look at that. That'd be awesome if we had an Ike encounter. Anyways, what I want to do is come on the other side of the planet. In fact, an Ike encounter there may be a head-on collision. We're going retrograde, it's coming prograde. We could have a head-on collision with Ike. We can fix that, though. We need to make it so that we're passing Duna on the other side of its orbit. So let me come over here, and I believe that we're going to do that with a either radial or anti-radial burn. There we go, check that out. So I'm focused on Duna so I can see what's going on, and I'm burning anti-radial. Look at that, there would be a slingshot past, but we're still in the retrograde direction. There we could hit Duna if we do this burn. Not really what we want to do. If you had an impactor probe or something, you could do that. Let's keep on dragging it by. There we have a Duna. Look at that. That's an Ike flyby as well. That's a Duna flyby and an Ike flyby if we were to do this. That's not really what we want, though. I had promised we weren't going to talk about aero braking. Let's get... I'm going to come in. I'm not going to... Let's come outside of Ike's orbit, all right? Let's go ahead, and since I'm not going to worry about aero braking, if you want to stay around later, we can come back and do this again. I'm going to set a periaps out here that's outside of Ike's influence. Let's just set it at 5.5. Or sorry, 4. Let's set it at 5 even. 5 million meters. Wow, okay. And I know I'm not using precise node. There we go. Because I said I'm just not going to use the aero capture here, that'll be for a future thing. We could do an aero capture. I've got the aero capture calculator. We'll go through that in the future. For this, we built our craft with extra delta V, and we're just going to circularize normally. In fact, now that I've got this 5 million meter pass, 5,000 kilometer pass past Duna, let's go ahead and put a node here. And this is another node. And we're going to see how much delta V it's going to take us to go into orbit around Duna. There's a Duna orbit. And all I did, I put it right there on the encounter, the periaps, the closest position we passed Duna, and I did retrograde, which means slow the heck down. And that allows Duna to grab a hold of us so that we orbit Duna. What is this? 6-7 versus 5. Less. Look how wonky that is. 6-1. Less. 5-6 is close enough. Let's see how much delta V that burn is. That can't be right. I don't believe that for a second. This may be an artifact of having two nodes set up at once. It may be, that one out there is 11.7. This node, there we go, I just hover over it. So that's 732 meters per second of delta V. This will be an excellent plan. This will be an excellent demonstration of how long the burn can take when you have a nuclear engine. So let's do it this way. This just shows me the next node. And when I hover over the node on the map, it shows me 732 seconds of delta V, meters per second of delta V. iCorpus Prograde, that's the other node. Thank you, Soul Wager. Always got my back. I appreciate it. Let's see. We're all good. We have that node planned. This looks really cool, right? Let's zoom out. We have our mid-course correction here. Then we have our node that's going to put us in orbit. That's awesome. You can put multiple nodes in. Here's the problem. If we don't execute this burn exactly correct, this node is going to be completely off. We have to execute that burn exactly in order for this to happen. In fact, look at the wonkiness here. I mean, that's our mid-course correction. If we don't... Sorry. This is where we are right now. This is after our mid-course correction. If we don't execute that mid-course correction, so we're exactly on this purple dotted line, this green node is going to be way off. So is it cool that we can plan multiple nodes like this? Yes. I was just doing it for the purposes of calculating about how much delta V that's going to cost us. So I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this node. And we will rebuild it after we do that mid-course correction. So I've explained a whole lot of stuff. If I've missed anything, go ahead and tell me in the chat if you need additional information. And I am going to go ahead and Kerbal alarm clock myself out to that node. Again, Kerbal alarm clock, so freaking awesome. Since there's a node, it just assumes that I'm going to want to set a node, or sorry, set an alarm for that node. This is the Duna Space Hags mid-course correction, MCC. I'm going to put it 5 minutes out, and I'm going to click Add Alarm. That means in 148 days, Kerbal alarm clock is going to say, wake up, time to burn. And it's going to give us 5 minutes notice before that node is supposed to take place. So, let's go ahead and focus on our vessel. I wish, yeah, I love that button there, which apparently I could just press backspace. Oh, I should have tested that. Anyways, I'll test it in the future. Let's go ahead and time warp until it's time to do that mid-course correction. So, oh yeah, I don't want to time warp past the sphere of influence. This is like a superstitious thing, like rally hats in baseball. I don't time warp past sphere of influence changes, at least not at a high level of time warp. because I feel like it screws up your resulting orbits. So that would make our mid-course correction incorrect. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. It's just some sort of wonkiness with warping past sphere of influence changes. Check the chat. Hey Jarhead, all of the mods that I run are down in the channel description. Ferrum Aerospace and Deadly Reentry is definitely something that I'm going to be in the future. I'm running Kerbal Space Academy programs without those to try and keep it simpler so that more people can be involved. But I would definitely like to have a separate install where in my career mode I run it in a little bit more hard mode. But before I would do classes or before I would do sessions in Kerbal Space Academy with those things, I need to get a lot more experience with them. A lot like what ejection angle means. Where is this at? But yeah, I do think those are awesome mods, and I do want to install them and get a lot of experience in them before I sit around here acting like I can talk about them with any sort of authoritative manner. So there we went through our sphere of influence change. I'm roughly on that orbit, I guess. There we go, that fixed it. And now we need to warp on out another 144 days to our mid-course correction. Yeah, you're right. I know that it actually does do it. I just call it superstition. So here we go, round and round. Where it stops, we actually know because this is orbital mechanics, and we can predict what's going to happen. We don't have to guess. Check it out. We're doing our Hohmann transfer. We're increasing our altitude from the sun. We're going out to here. To Duna's orbit. An important thing here, you could be doing science, because when you're not in Kerbin's sphere of influence, before you get to Duna, you could do science experiments, and if you're in career mode or science mode, you could be getting paid to do this, basically. Look at this. That even thinks, look how much different we are. That node is not even on us, because we time warped past the sphere of influence. Even though I time warped it really slow. See how we planned that node there, but we didn't do it here? Maybe it's important to get out of Kerbin's sphere of influence before you plan this node. This is good enough. I know from experience that it should get us really close, and we can always mid-course correct again. So I'm going to close the alarm. Let's execute this burn. I guess I could actually plan it again, couldn't I? I'll just mid-course correct again if I need to. Wow, now it says 70... Wait a second. 70 meters per second? That's nasty. Let's do it. Let's do it the right way. We're already past the descending node. That's okay. We're really close. 35 minutes. That's not what we want. We want a node really close in the future. Yes, I love this. It's not even on the orbit. We'll do the burn in like 3 minutes. There we go. And where was Duna? Let's focus on Duna. There we go. Let us... Where's our encounter? Did time warping past actually screw up our encounter with Duna? It did. It made us lose the encounter with Duna. Isn't that fantastic? We're definitely going to have to fix this. I bet you a little bit more Delta V will get us there. There it was. Okay, there's our encounter. It's just that time warping past that node. I should have not time warped it past it at all. There's an encounter. It's still a low polar encounter. So I'm fixing things on the fly here. This might have happened to you. A lot of times you'll see, what the heck, I had an encounter. Where did it go? And I got out here to the mid-course correction. I'm having to reset it up because time warping past that, just like Soul Wager said, time warping past that node, even though I did it at a very low time warp, still changed my orbit and made me miss the Duna encounter. So if you have an encounter and it disappears, don't fret. You're really close to an encounter. Something just kicked you off to it a little bit, and we just need to correct it here. I'm talking, I have 1 minute 36 seconds. I better do this fast. We know that it needed to be normal. There we go. Normal a little bit more. Nope, that's too far north. And there we go. Close enough. Not even sure where Ike is. There it is. That looks good. And then we know we needed to do, where was it? Anti-radial. So that we get on the other side. There we go. What's our periaps? 2.9. Let's go fast. Now we missed it. There we go. 3.8. Good enough. We don't have a lot of time. 4.5. In the plane. Good enough for government work. I think a little bit more up will give us... Yeah, there we go. Alright, so let's go out there and execute this burn. This mid-course correction. Because it lost our... Which way? Where are you at? There you go. So again, because we switched off the vessel, it lost our burn calculation. This is a small enough burn. It's a correction burn. I'm not going to worry about the exact timing. We're kind of playing it fast and loose here anyways. So all I need to do is get 34 meters per second, roughly around the time of the node. I don't have to do it exactly in this case. So let's go ahead and just go on up till like 10 seconds out. And then we'll do the burn. Playing it fast and loose. There we go. Doing the burn. Burn, burn, burn. And that's half of a burn. I timed it pretty close. I wanted it to be to +10 whenever I stopped the burn. Excellent. Let's go check our resulting orbit around Duna. That looks bueno. Look at that. So we've got a pass. Oh, look at that. It's flicking in and out. Another problem, it's not a very solid encounter, right? It's not claiming that it's a very solid encounter. That happens sometimes. We're going to plan another node. I am not sure why that happens. It's totally annoying. Look at how our orbits are wacky. See how it's flickering? That's just something with the calculation, the way that it calculates it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try first to switch off the craft and then come back to it. So where was my space junk? Or just another planet or something? There's the space junk. And then I'm going to switch back to my craft and see if that weird wobble goes away. Look at you in a solar orbit, out here by yourself. And there's the craft. Let's switch back to it, see if that changed our wobble. See if we get a solid node. Solid encounter. Your encounter, not so solid. Anybody name the reference? We still do not have a solid encounter, so let's see if we can fix this. Is it because our... Yeah, it's because that's wobbly. Look how dirty that is, though. That just makes me sick. That's 35 seconds. That's too soon. Gotta plan the node a couple minutes out so we have time to actually do it. Let's see what we can do to get a solid encounter. Oh my gosh, that's so annoying. What can we do? What if we burn? What if we do less delta V? Is that? Nope. Nope, that still flickers. What if we do more? Nope, that's not good at all. Okay, that looks like it becomes solid. Yes, it stops flickering. What is this? Alright. I don't like that. Let's reset it. Is there a reset button in here? I wish there was. Alright, 0. I was just setting the node back to 0. Let's see. Let's try our radial. There we go. That looks better. But wow, once it gets out of that... Yeah. I'm not sure. It's solid on that side. It's just not solid on this side. That's so annoying. Well, we can deal with it. We'll just come in closer. And we can always change our approach. What if we go into the same... Wow. What if we go to the same orbit as Ike? Look at that. I got an Ike encounter there. I got 2 Ike encounters. Let's just... we'll set it down here, because that seems to be where it's really solid. Maybe we'll set it at 1.2. Using the scroll wheel. Check me out. Scroll wheel is so finicky. Anybody know how low the sphere of influence for Ike extends? Because I'm setting this to a 1 million meter pass on Duna. Then we'll execute this burn here. 2.3 meters per second. When you're out here in interstellar space, this is the time to do your mid-course corrections because they're so freaking cheap. A little bit of delta V here. If I waited till I was almost to Duna, the same exact burn would cost me a whole lot more than 2.3 meters per second. There it is. Let's see, let's see. Alright. I'm always looking at that nav ball and I feel like I'm looking way down off the bottom of the screen. Camera-wise. Alright, we'll go ahead and zoom up to this and execute this burn. 3 minutes out. 2.3 meters per second is almost no burn, so we'll just burn it right on the node. Again, out here in interstellar space, a difference of a second or 2 or 10 or even a couple minutes isn't really that big of a deal. I don't have to burn directly on the node, I just got to get it close enough. So I'm just going to go ahead and burn right now. really slow. Try to do this very precisely. There we go. Am I controlling it from here? Let's just make sure I'm doing that, not controlling it from the lander pod. Let's go check Duna. Look at that. That's a nice solid encounter with Duna. You may run into the shaky orbit problem. Just play with it until it gets solid. And now we can plan the node where we want to go in Duna orbit at 1,000,000 meters. Oh, look at that. We could start off with an Ike encounter. It's not that bad of an idea. And then come on the rest of the way down to Duna? That looks cool. Let's do it that way. I mean, it would be simpler to just burn and circularize our orbit right here. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to burn this amount. Where's it at? Is it not going to tell me? There you go, 560 meters per second. We're going to swing around Duna. We're going to encounter Ike. Then we'll go into orbit around Ike, hang out there for a minute, and then go the rest of the way down to Duna. That sounds like a cool way to do it. So, if that's a bit much for anybody, let me know. All we're doing, we're going to burn enough here so that we swing around Duna, but the amount that we swing around, we're actually going to come into Ike's sphere of influence, and we'll go into orbit around Ike, check it out, maybe land on it, then come on down to Duna. Didn't plan that. That's cool. Let's see here. I really look kind of washed out. So, the next node is on 110 days. It's going to be a 3-minute and 42-second burn. That's not bad. That's those nuclear engines getting us. And it's going to be 500 meters per second. So let's add a Kerbal alarm clock. It's our capture. I have some abbreviations that I use, like CAP is capture, MCC is mid-course correction, CIRC is circularization. It's just so I know what's going on. You can name them however you want. We'll set that 5 minutes out. And let's go ahead and time warp again. But not past... Wait. That's embarrassing. It is backspace. You can press backspace, and that will take you back to your ship. I'll be darned. Let's see here. I will go ahead and time warp, and we'll time warp from this view. You know what we could do? While we're time warping, let's add another node. Kerbal alarm clock lets you say sphere of influence change, so I clicked on SOI change. I'm going to do it a minute out and have it kill the warp for me. You see what I'm doing there? That way we can not time warp past the sphere of influence change, and we should not get that weirdness. So now let's time warp. Here we go. Kerbin's way up there. We're closing in on Duna. Look at Duna coming. We're going to hit it up here. And Kerbal alarm clock is going to keep us from time warping past the sphere of influence change. I like that a lot. Look at that. Duna's catching up to us. We're going to do a flyby. Here we go. Slow it down, Kerbal alarm clock. And, oh, that's because we got close. We're still time warped. We're still approaching Duna. And we're not quite to the sphere of influence change. This is just the fastest that it'll let me approach. So let's see here. What am I welcome for? I'm welcome. Did you say that up there? Close the alarm. We'll go ahead and coast on into this. That's the Ike encounter. Where's the... This is the Duna encounter. No, that's the Ike escape. I'm confused. Why does it have that labeled as Ike encounter? That's not right. And it says that we're going to go flying off. I'm not exactly sure what's happening here. Is that node still in there? Yes. That's dirty. I'm not even sure when it's going to say that we changed the sphere of influence here. Let's see what we got. This... We're not on it anymore. Apparently, something dirty happened. And it thinks that we're going to run into Ike? We didn't burn, did we? What happened that made us lose all this delta V in this? Something odd has occurred here. Let's get rid of that. Something happened, and now it says that we're going to collide with Ike. Oh, Kerbal Space Program. Does anybody Am I already in Duna's sphere of influence? Yes. So how did it? I guess it didn't keep us from warping past it. That must be what happened. It didn't keep us from warping past it. So that's lame, and it thinks that we're going to run into Ike now. It's not really what we want to do. Let's see here. Focus on Ike. What's going on? I'm gonna hit Ike directly. That's not cool. Okay. Add the maneuver there. Then drag it up. Let's see what we can do to miss Ike. Nope, that's wrong. Ah, yes. There's an Ike periapsis. I guess this is a direct encounter with Ike. So we'll just do it that way. And that is going to be a prograde encounter. 50 kilometers above Ike, I guess. Alright, we'll do that. Oh, Kerbal Space Program. The best laid plans. Oh, we're still time warping, apparently. Did that change anything? No. It doesn't think I'm going to run into Ike. I'm actually going to run into Ike. You're correct. Again, this is the first time I've done one of these. I haven't worked out all the bugs. For the sake of simplicity, I should probably be just doing the direct encounter with with Duna, but since we got the Ike thing going on, let's go ahead and go to Ike. The principle stays the same, but I probably do need to keep it simpler in the future. Let's see here. This is no good anymore. Let's go ahead and add this. This is a 2-second burn to correct our approach to Ike. And let's go ahead and warp on up to it. Is it going to boink my freaking approach again? So annoying. Alright, there we go. What is that, 20 minutes till the node? Yeah. That's so annoying. Another thing I need to do is make this fit into a 2-hour segment, not a 4-hour segment. But this is, like I said, this is the first time I've done this, and I will definitely make it different. Alright, there we go. Let's delete that. A 2-second burn in 56 seconds. Let's go get that done. Alright, there's the burn. I'm going to burn it half throttle, so I did it twice. Twice the burn time. There's our correction around Ike. 50. Good enough. Wow. Let's delete that. We're going to make it through the system here. Yeah, we're going to pass by Ike and then go back into Duna's sphere of influence. Alright, good deal, Danthus. On Thursday, I'll try to fit it into a shorter segment instead of a longer segment, but thanks for hanging out for this. Like I said, first time I've done this. Let's go into orbit around Ike. Or should we do an Ike? Should we just do an Ike pass? How would that look? What if we just go flying by Ike? How does that make us look relative to Duna? No, that doesn't really change anything, does it? Huh. Nah. Let's go into orbit around Ike. I am making this more complex than I will remember in future thingies. That's 150. I can click on it to make it stick. And slow down. 50 by 60. 55 by 57. That's close enough. What is that? 55 by 57. Yeah, that's close enough. 450 meters per second of delta V to go into orbit around Ike. Let's do it to it. Node in 4 hours. So we're going to go ahead and time warp up to that. That burn is going to be 3 minutes, so we need an alarm that's longer than that. There we go. Alright. Knee! Are you saying knee? What troubling times when a passing passerby says knee to an old woman. Ah, yes. Another one of my favorite movies. That's gonna be just about a 3-minute burn, so we can burn for a minute and a half before the node. Look at Ike. Wow, we're coming straight up to Ike here. There's 7 minutes, 6 minutes, then we're gonna have to find the node. So delete, close. What else? Where is my little blue dot? Where is it? There it is. Good thing I put that SAS module on there, huh? Using the electric charge, but that's okay. And there's my node. we'll go for a minute and a half burn. Or sorry, a minute and a half, T-minus minute and a half. And I'm totally watching the thingy. Two. 1 minute, come on. Now we're in the minute range, and that's a minute and a half right there. Alright. So I'm going to burn it a minute and a half, and we need to get rid of 449 meters per second. There we go. Going into orbit around Ike. Oh, nigh. I thought you were saying knee. Knee! Alrighty. Let me get some... Oh, man. I've apparently been streaming long enough that the ice in my delicious Dr. Pepper provided by McDonald's has melted. Anyways, we'll go ahead and do this burn. How's Kerbal Engineer say we're coming on the Delta V? We still have so much Delta V. I'm not sure why it's not changing. Anyone? Have I crashed Kerbal Engineer? Calling Cybertech. Why is the Delta V not changing? Not sure what's going on. Don't know if I can trust whether or not this is an accurate number anymore. But, whatever. Turn it off, turn it on. Nope. The IT fix did not work. Is it because I've got two modules on there? What if I do a... That's not a crew hatch, that's odd. No, that's just the sim timing. Not sure what's going on there. Not allowing me to, Huh. So if anybody could answer why, that's not changing, that would be a good thing to answer. Kerbal Engineer is failing me, man. Probably just need to turn it off and turn it back on again. But apparently I can't do it from that part there. I should be draining fuel from the main stage? Yeah, I'm draining fuel from the main stage there. Yeah, I tried to click off of it. I am draining fuel from the main tank. There's my Ike orbit. Huh. No sé, señor Pussycat. I mean, what if I try to drain it from the side tanks? Maybe that'll fix it? Nope, that didn't change anything. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why that is not changing there. What would have caused that that to crash out? Let me pay attention to my burns so that I don't crash into Ike. Yeah, I feel like unloading the craft and reloading it or something like that has been a solution in the past. Maybe Cybertech can show up and self-log a bug report or explain what's going on. I'm not time warping, I'm burning. There we go. What are we? 75, huh? Yeah, that wasn't the most efficient thing, but we're close enough to an Ike orbit. Maybe messed up by the lander. That may be it. It may be the fact that the lander's on there and there's two of those parts. Let me see if I can right-click and. I'm also starting to get the right-click bug here. Toggle flight engineer. Let's see if that does it. Nope, that didn't do anything. And then apparently toggle flight engineer is not a tweakable on the other one. Huh. We'll see. I mean, we know we have plenty of Delta V, so we're not going to worry about it too much. So anyways, now we're in an orbit around Ike. Let me go ahead and make this a 48 by 48 orbit. Wait for the flip. There we go. 48, 9, there we go. Yeah, that may be it. We'll see. We're going to disconnect the lander. We're going to go down and visit Ike and then come back up. So let's see if... let's see if that's it. That may be it. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. We'll try to go to a different craft after I circularize here. Where's the circularization? Oh, wait. Back on. There we go. Yeah, it's glad that so many people see that that happens. I'm not crazy, but I'm not sure exactly. I feel like, are we controlling from here again? Where's my blue node? There it is. Oh, that right-click bug, yo. All right, there we go. So let's fast forward and do this circularization, then we'll go on down and visit Ike. 3-second burn. So we'll just start burning at 2 seconds. I'm like staring down. Like zoning out, staring at the freaking thingy.